Auckland Cup Week, the definitive week of racing in the north. A tri-code extravaganza of racing featuring the best equines and canines New Zealand can produce. On the middle Sunday, we bear witness to greyhound excellence in a no-holds-barred Group 1 racing shootout at Manukau Stadium. The Auckland Cup, $90,000 up for grabs. The Railway, 318 metres of paw-to-paw sprinting. Last year, the Canterbury Raiders claimed the Auckland Cup, with Craig Roberts charging from go to woe with kennel star Dirk Bale.
Off the top they come, Dirk Bale, the Roberts charge, go to woe, and kicking away off the top there, Dirk Bale.
And the North claimed one of their own with the timeless master of greyhound racing, Ray Adcock, mentoring Rosa T to victory in the 2018 Railway Sprint.
Off we go, Rosa T for RH has kicked the top, and kicking away here as Rosa T gets home. Raymond Harold Adcock, Rosa T, bounce, gets the run in an 18 and a 24. He's a master, isn't he? Words don't describe the young fella.
2019 sees a new crop of canine stars take to the track. Behind them, a diverse array of dedicated training teams representing countless hours of planning and dedication. And now is the time to shine. It is the chance to win two of New Zealand greyhound racing's most storied trophies. This is greyhound racing at its best. No holds barred, across two distances, under the skies of our largest city.
Hello everybody, good evening and welcome into Dog Zone for our special of Group 1 racing. We have two Group 1s going down on Sunday, of course the running of the Auckland Cup over 527 metres, as well as the Qualified Pet Services Railway Sprint over the 318 metres. It's going to be an absolute boomer. Three people here today on the show, joined firstly by Mark Rosanowski. Rozo, Sunday is going to be an absolute ripper of a day. Two Group 1s and they're both as good as each other.
Yeah, absolutely, Andy. The Railway was elevated to Group 1 status a handful of years ago. The Auckland Cup's been going since 1947. Started at Devonport. Master Robin won the first. It's been at 6 different venues. Always a special day with two Group 1s. The same as New Zealand Cup Day down at Addington. Those two Group 1s just makes it extra special.
Also joined by Phillipa Morris on the show as well. Pip, last year taken out by Dirk Bale, a little bit of an upset, and this year's Auckland Cup looks really even on paper.
That it does, Andy. I mean, so many dogs missed out already, and we've still got such a quality field. Shows the dogs that we have in New Zealand, and I'm looking forward to it. And then the sprint too. It's a bit of a field. I can't wait for Sunday.
Certainly going to be an outstanding day's racing. Get along if you are in the area. Some of our best greyhounds we have seen have been able to take out the Auckland Cup. Winsome Ashley getting the chocolates back in 2008. And Rozo, this track record still stands today. Gee, she was phenomenal. She
was amazing. She won 4 Group 1s in the season. Somehow she didn't win New Zealand Greyhound of the Year, which is the biggest travesty since I've been involved in greyhound racing for 35 years. She was on a streak of 9 here. She'd won the Wellington Cup by about 14 lengths. Phillipa, she'd won her heat and broken the track record by about 3.5 lengths, and in the final she went even faster.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and look at all the progeny she's left as well, and she just blows them away, doesn't she? And what a win by a fantastic dog, and you're right, she should have got the Greyhound of the Year.
Yeah, an absolute travesty, no doubt about that. Here's Little Mother winning her first of 2 Auckland Cups, this time in the green rug. Pip, she was one of the best we ever saw here in the country, and to go back-to-back in an Auckland Cup is no mean feat.
Oh, it certainly isn't. How many other dogs have done it? Rosa, you'd know best, I suppose, our historian on the show.
The book.
But yeah, she's just an incredible dog, and I think one of the best interviews ever with Brendan Cole, you'd have to say, after that race as well.
Great bit to have a close relation in the Auckland Cup final this year, and don't knock a G, from the same family, not in the same class as Little Mother obviously, but certainly has a lot of talent on her day.
Certainly does. This is her winning in 2011 as well, off box number 4. She was just the consummate professional, wasn't she, Rosso? Early speed and strength on her side, and once she did this, she was never going to be beaten.
Just the reliability of her, and we talked, Philippa, about how long 12 months is in greyhound racing. Avenger Bale's back for a second Auckland Cup. He was 7th last year. He's won heats in the last 2 years, which is a pretty amazing feat in itself. But to win the way she did, beating the dog she did, just incredible.
It is, and it's such a mean feat to try and keep a dog, at the same quality year in, year out, and she was one of them.
2016, Dinah Vickers got the chocolates for Craig Roberts. Box number 3, Philippa, this isn't the way you usually win an Auckland Cup, but this is what we came to expect of Dinah Vickers, and he had a powerful finish on him when he could get handy.
This is what I love about this. The other two we've seen, they jump to the front and they run away. He really had to work for this win, and it's so unusual. And the dogs that he beat, Rosso, is a quality field.
Yeah, totally. And even at the top of the straight, you're thinking there's a way that he could get beaten, and then things worked out for him. He charged up the centre, Andy. He was that sort of dog. He was an excitement machine because, like Philippa said, he could actually mix it up in the race, overcome adversity, change strides at speed. Just a remarkable dog. One of 4 Auckland Cup winners for Craig Roberts, dating right back to 1999, and Denzel Bale.
One of the best sprinters we ever saw in the land was Swimming Goat. He was able to be victorious in the railway, and Rosso, he was just unbelievable. He was fair in his qualifying effort for this, but come finals night he was at his best and he was way too good for them.
Yeah, with 2 Galaxies, just a shame he wasn't able to get back to try and defend the railway as well. The double-double, Philippa, would have been something quite remarkable. As it is, you'd think that maybe the double would be easy to do for the sprinters, but Hi-Fi Leg Road did it, and Pingara Park, the only ones in the modern era, along with Swimming Goat. So what a wonderful dog.
Yeah, it just shows how hard it is, isn't it, to keep these dogs up to quality. And Sir Dougie this year going for the back-to-back, of course, the Galaxy and the Railway.
Well, that's looking back. We're going to head to a quick break here on Dog Zone. After this, we'll go runner by runner through the first of the 2 features, the Group 1 Auckland Cup. Now time to pick apart the first of the features, the Group 1 Auckland Cup. Here's a look at the market for it. Favourite has come up, Penny Mac, $3.80. Blazing Carter in the market, $4.50. Ringside Avenger Bale at 5's All About Space is $6.50. Rosso, the immediate thing that springs out to me is All About Space seems a little bit short. Is there any value there for you?
She does seem quite short. Penny Mac, favourite out in box number 7. Can he rediscover his form, his ability to get out of the boxes and get up there, because he ran a great race. He was bumped 4 times going to the first bend the other day. But if he's got a jump like that, that's what's going to happen. So that is an issue. I find it hard to find some genuine value. There might be people that say, hey, you can play Don't Knock a G, hope she has a good day, $14, something like that. Diddley's a recent Group 1 winner, but against its own sex. So whatever you like, I think, get on. It's not like there's a pronounced favourite there. But to my eye, there's nothing I'd instantly say, bang, you've got to be on that at value for backup.
Here's a look at the speed map for the feature on Sunday, and it's going to be an even line away. Philippa, Blazing Carter, Penny Mac with early speed, but Penny hasn't been at his best of late.
No, he certainly hasn't. Looking at that, you wouldn't think he's really jumping where he's mapped there. Blazing Carter, yes, I do think Don't Knock a G tends to get out well, so I think they're right there. Diddley's a questionable one for me as well, Andy. I think, he doesn't jump that well. He's almost in line there with Penny Mac and Blazing Carter, so yeah, a little bit of queries there around that speed map.
Where do you position Ringside up into the first turn? Obviously, we saw what he's capable of in his heat, and you'd think he could have improved after having a look at Auckland.
Yes, I think so. He doesn't tend to actually jump out of the boxes per se fast. It's when he hits the ground he's got that acceleration, so I can still see him 3rd or 4th into the first bend, I think.
I think probably the one thing we'd guarantee is that Blazing Carter will be there. Be a surprise if Blazing Carter isn't up near the pace.
Yeah, I think he's right on the speed map.
Apart from that, there are a lot of variables potentially.
A lot of ifs and buts, aren't there? Box number 1 comes up for All About Space, who was second in her heat to Bertie Allen, and Rosso, she was good in the heat. She was second the week before in by an Asking Jeff, which was okay. $6.50 seems a little bit short for mine, and she needs to lift a little bit to get into this.
Yeah, look, it's a hard one. We're going to hear from Brendan Cole in a moment, but she's back from a season, and with each run she'll be getting better. And the 2 runs she's had recently, she has been hassled in the running to some extent. Look, she's been game, she's been brave, but there's a fair bit of speed too. Here she is here. She's in the pink rug and she gets forward. It's a very interesting race, obviously, Phillipa, because Bertie Allen, the green dog, rushes up and, yeah. Nature's Gent in the red rug went to the outside, and that was critical for him because he doesn't like going to the outside of dogs. If he'd gone the inside, he's in the final. All About Space gets the sling round the outside, and here's Bertie up for a bit of a bite.
Yes, and she was a bit unlucky, even before Bertie Allen said hello to her up the straight, Nature's Gent checking her off the back. So you can't really go off her last sectionals there, but I do think she's vulnerable late. Last time out she was caught by Asking Jeff too late here at Auckland, so that for me is what makes her just a little bit weak there at the end when you've got some strong dogs at the end.
Mark Rosanowski was lucky enough to catch up with Brendan Cole, kennel representative, on the Monday at the Manukau. Here's what he thought about All About Space.
Brendan, All About Space joined your kennel not so long ago. You must be thrilled with what she's done so far.
Yeah, she's a really good bitch, and I approached Andy and Bev and Earl about purchasing her for a syndicate, and they were happy to let her go, and had good success with their dogs in the past, and they're good people. And she came in season just after we got her, and that's her 3rd run now out of season, and yeah, she's going to develop into a real true Group 1 bitch, I believe.
And while she's been running good races, she has actually been getting hassled in those races, so she's been doing fairly well.
Yeah. She's called All About Space because she used to like a bit of room, but she come to our place and now she wants the fence the whole time. So just changed a little bit having a season, and just needs to get left alone. She's run into Trojan Horse the last couple of weeks, and then Trojan Horse and yesterday's dog, Paul Freeman's, they all jostled up. So yeah, if she can just get left alone, and yeah, she's a very strong bitch, so she's going to be a real good asset later on.
Her kennel mate Blazin Carter comes up with box number 2. He is the second favourite at the moment for the final, and he was good in his heat. He was able to get the early lead, Phillipa, and once he was there, he was just too strong for them. He did appear to float a little bit across the top, which is the question with him, but if his mind is in the right place and he does chase, he is a big chance.
He certainly is. He's got the box speed, as we said. He should be leading out in this race, but you said it all there. For me, it's his own worst enemy. I think it's his head, and if he was switched on, yes, I think he's quite capable, but he really did look to float across the back here, Rosso.
Yeah, he's come in off the back of having to re-qualify, and he did that behind Big Time Wendell in good time too. So look at him here. He's got things under control. Cameo said giving him chase. Now, just here, you're thinking, hang on a minute. He can do that across the top here, but he still flattens out okay. It's not like his run homes are horrendous by any stretch, Andy.
And he is a dog with Group 1 ability.
Exactly. Second in the Waterloo Cup on the track to Penny Mac. And of course, third in the New Zealand Cup as well. So, yeah, ability to be up on the pace, critical, of course, in these races.
Brendan Cole's thoughts around Blazin Carter are as follows.
Blazin Carter draws box number 2, Brendan, and he's come back from re-qualifying, so you have to be happy with that performance, winning a heat first up.
Yeah, excellent. He hasn't had a 500 metre run since he got stood down, so it's been 6 weeks. He's going to find a little bit. He didn't tie up or nothing yesterday, which was great. He's got the early pace to lead any dog in this country. It's just whether he can hang on at the other end. But he got to the line pretty good yesterday, I thought, and again, if he leads, there's a chance.
Is he a dog that you do have to hold your breath on when you're watching him, even out in front?
No, I don't think so. If he's in front, mate, he's away. Yeah, there's been a few circumstances with him, but that's racing, and once they're in the box, it's out of your control. You can't do a thing.
Third of the Cole team is Don't Knock a G, comes up with box number 3. She was second in her heat, and that was in behind Avenger Bale. Rosso, slightly odd run from her. She's still gone good. She's qualified for a Group 1, but once she was in front, it did appear to be race over. Yeah, well, Avenger Bale is a Group 1 winning stayer, as we know, so no disgrace getting run down by him, but I haven't seen Don't Knock a G get run past, and Diddley, crucially, was taking ground out of her as well, and so that had me a little bit wondering, but maybe Brendan Cole's about to answer that question for us. When I spoke to him initially, we talked about her relationship to the Great Little Mother.
Yeah, so she's closely related to Little Mother, being her mother is a sister from a Pry litter, I think it is, of Little Mother. So it'd be nice to do that one again for the connections. But I hemmed and hard about going to the race at Wanganui, but I just thought with only 3 runs under her belt coming back from a season, it's going to be a tough ask. And even yesterday she got run over top of, which I didn't think that she would get run over top of, and I know that when she's rock solid fit that she wouldn't get run over top of. But that's all part of having a dog having a season, and it just takes a little bit to come good. But yeah, if she leads, well, she's a big chance, but she's not always the bravest dog, and she had her favours yesterday, and but she can ping and go. We've seen that twice now since coming back fresh. She can really get out and go. So yeah, it's just once again, you just got to see how we get around that first corner, and then it's all on.
Yes, I think he says it all there. It's all what happens out of the boxes in that first corner. But she is a dog, she tends to be in and out, Rosso. I thought her run, not last week, but prior, was really strange. She was up there and she did nothing. So for me, that's the question with her.
Yeah, the 2 wins this time in have been out in box number 8, and that's been, well, the win in the second. And that's been critical, obviously. I think box 3 is not really that ideal. Now, I do have the answer to your question about the double winner, Little Mother, while we're talking about the family. But I had to refer to Sam Fletcher, the late Sam Fletcher's book. He was a terrific historian for greyhound racing. A nice B the last time, I do remember that dog, 83, 84, but then you go right back to the 50s. That. No, probably not. You certainly wouldn't remember 58 and 59 or 55 and 56. Dog called Jet won it twice. And now, wouldn't you love all dogs, Andy, as a commentator, just to be called Jet?
It would make our life easy, wouldn't it? It would make our life easy. Runner number 4 is Did It Leave for the Angela Turnwald team. He is a recent Group 1 winner. Philippa, he comes up with box number 4. He makes the final. Obviously, he was only 3rd, but with Birdie Allen getting a stand down, he makes his way into the field and he draws up handily enough in the 4.
He does, and the funny thing with me is, we used to always talk about this dog. He comes out of the boxes, he crunches down to the rail. If you watch his last 3 or 4 runs, he's not doing that. So maybe is he growing up a little bit, and I think that's really going to help him into this race this year if he can come off the 4. And he just got, he was making ground late last too. So.
On Monday, Rosso was also able to catch up with Paul Freeman. Here's what he thought around Diddley.
What was the process for you after the race and the situation that kind of unfolded with Birdie Allen being put out?
We've actually been in this situation before in the Spee on Rose. We had the fastest 3rd dog, which made the final due to that situation. So I was sort of a bit clued up on what the rule was going to be.
Diddley's run, he's run 3rd behind 2 very strong dogs. What do you make of it on the face of it?
Hey, very happy, and he was coming towards the end, and he's just a dog that just keeps developing and developing.
Box number 4, he won the New Zealand St Ledger from there, but of course he's up against some hardened campaigners here, if you like. What do you make of it?
Hey, it's all about what the others do, really. I'm sure he's going to do the same every week, and if the other dogs don't begin as good as normal, we'll be right in there.
Is he a difficult dog to train, or race to race, is it quite easy?
He's a bizarre dog. The more work you give him, the more he thrives. You give him a wee break, and he seems to go backwards on you. The more racing he gets, the better he goes.
So Paul Freeman there chatting about Diddley. From the moment this dog came to this country and won first up at Manukau, he looked a dog of promise, but what he's gone on to do I think is even more than perhaps what they thought, certainly what I thought anyway. He's got that Group 1 win in the St Ledger, a race that's been elevated to Group 1 status. It was against his own sex. He's up against the gnarly, hardened campaigners here, but you just get the feeling he can do it because he was able to place as well in the Spee on Rose again against all comers.
Is he the dog that holds the key to Don't Knock a G as well, being drawn to her outside and putting pressure on her early?
Well, he might be, but Philippa makes a really good point that he's not quite doing that the same, and that maybe he's just kind of thinking about things now. But with Blazing Carter having speed inside, Don't Knock a G, and Diddley being okay, you just fear for G a wee bit into that first bend, but she's got the ability to make us feel a bit funny, I suppose, and look a bit silly. Diddley, box number 4, Paul was saying they've got a really good Group 1 record off box number 4. So Nature's Gent won the New Zealand Cup there, for example, so yeah, blue's their colour at the moment.
The master, Raymond Adcock, he does prepare ringside, comes up with box number 5, and it'll be good medicine for him as well. He hasn't been in the best of health of late, Philippa, and it's really good to see this bloke qualify. Fastest qualifier, obviously. His run home was the strongest of all of these competitors, and if he can get a clear run, he's right in this.
Yes, well, he's the full brother to Ring the Bell, isn't he? So strong at the end. He's won over 600 metres, but even his midsection, 14.72, well, if he does something like that again, he's actually going to be really hard to beat, Rosso.
Yeah, no question. I mean, the only thing that is sort of slightly concerns me about him, Andy, as we have a look at him here, working to the lead from box number 7 and setting the time standard. Is that run at Addington where he was behind double speed? I expected him to go past. They ran 30.11. Okay, that's a good time, but he'd run 29.84 a few days before. That's my only sort of thing that's like just bothering me about ringside. What about you?
He seems more comfortable when he is coming across runners as opposed to having dogs on his outside, which happened on that occasion. Penny Mac could be the key to him?
Oh, potentially so, yeah. Obviously, Penny Mac coming across, but Penny, you know, we've got him forward on the speed map, but he's also disappointed us a bit lately too with some of his beginnings, particularly at Hattrick Raceway. And the other day, of course, he paid for a bit of an issue there early as well. But look, you bring a dog up and yeah, the issues that they had, obviously Ray couldn't come up, but the dog is with Thane Green. Thane's a vastly experienced man. He trained the winner of the Auckland Cup in 1992, a dog called Manukau, and he's in really good hands, this dog.
He is. Earlier, Phillipa Morris caught up with Thane Green and asked if he was happy with the run.
I thought it was a brilliant run. In fact, if it had been a Class 4 race, it would have track record. So to run in those heats and first time on the track, thought it was exceptional.
Do you know whereabouts Ray would ideally like him drawn?
No, I haven't spoken to Ray, but I don't think the way he jumped today, I don't think the box draw is going to worry him.
Craig Roberts prepares runner number 6 in Avenger Barley. Wears the green rug come Sunday afternoon. He knows what Group 1 racing is all about. Phillipa, he's your top selection for the race. He draws to get a little bit of room early if Penny Mac does bomb the start like he did in the heat, and box number 6 will hold no fears for him.
No, well, I'm hoping not. He has made now 7 Group 1s. This will be his 7th, and I'm hoping finally he's not going to do all the best in the heat and then, you know, not do anything in the final. And yes, he did win here in the gold rug, but I still don't think it was, you know, amazing. So I'm hoping that he's got enough left in the tank, but he did so well to run down Don't Knock a G, which we know how good and how strong she is. And, you know, he's just informed so much, and I think if any dog is deserved to take out a Group 1, it's this boy.
You've got the Group 1 it's in the staying ranks over the 732, and when it's come to these middle distance finals, as Philip has said, he hasn't quite done it. The mysterious one to me was the Hattrick Classic, because he got the run to win that race and he just didn't finish it off, but we know he can. He ran 30.30 in the heat there. He ran a tenth of a second faster the year before, 30.20. He got butchered in the final, ran 7th. I think you just disregard that. So he's not actually far down on his heat run from last year, Andy. Wouldn't it be fantastic? His brother won last year, and he's a genuine chance. Philip is wearing his colours. I mean, yeah, she's really pinning them to the mast, eh?
That's confidence for you. On Sunday, Phillipa did catch up with Craig Roberts and firstly asked about Avenger's nature.
He's a great week campaigner, that dog. He came over to New Zealand and he didn't know what life was all about. He was very shy and reserved. And look, he just does everything, doesn't he? He can run 500, 600, 700, and he just always gives his best. I was wrecked with the run today.
With the box draw, ideally, where would you want to draw?
It's a tricky one with him because he sort of won from everywhere and he doesn't really like the rail that much. So probably, as much as I hate to say it, I'd probably be happy anywhere sort of 6, 7 or 8.
Box number 7 for the Steve Clark prepared Penny Mac. He knows what Group 1 racing is all about. He comes up with the 7. He was second in his heat in behind a ringside. Rosso, 2 things to touch on here. First, Auckland Cup finalist for Steve Clark, as you mentioned earlier, which is somewhat surprising. And the second thing, as we've said earlier, he's not picking the jump as good as we know he can.
Exactly. Steve told me that, and I'm like flabbergasted by that, given the quality of dogs that he's had and the way that he's gone down to Addington and taken on the New Zealand Cups and come up triumphant there. You'd think surely he's had an Auckland Cup finalist. Well, he hasn't. Fairly limited preparation for the dog, very fast sprint at Cambridge, and then that heat run the other day. Well, that performance was pretty good. This is the sprint performance, very fast. In his heat, he was checked 4 times going to the first bend. I wrote him off. I know other dogs got checked in the running as well. He was very good. And if you actually look at his closing section, it's better than I would have anticipated. So it really is all about the start with him, and he dominated the Waterloo Cup. But if you're backing him at $3.80, I don't think you're necessarily getting any value, even though I'm actually pretty keen on him.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I'm pretty keen on the dog too, as far as, you know, if he, last week's one was huge, I think, and so many times getting checked, but for me it's trying to get across from 7 and he's just letting himself down off the boxes, but I think, you know, he's still a very, very good dog.
Box number 8 for the Ben Craik prepared Cameo Sid. He's drawn out perfectly where he wants to be. He loves the pink rug. He was second in his heat in behind Blazin' Carter. I'm a one-man war here, Philippa. I've got him in the mix, and you two think I'm crazy.
I wouldn't call you crazy, but I do think, Cameo said if you watch him, especially from the outside jaws, he keeps his line, and he's out in 8. I don't think he can afford to have 7 or 8 dogs in his inside and go, I'll go 6 wide around the bend, guys, and you will come up the inside and I'm still going to run you down.
Andy, I had you labelled crazy long before your selections for the Auckland Cup, in a good way.
Should I leave now?
Well, no. I think as much as it's good for him to be in box 8, I actually think it's really good for the opposition that he's in box number 8, and that's probably critical. However, good luck to you. You'd obviously be backing him at value. I couldn't back him at 16. I thought that was the top 3 price, to be fair. I'm glad he's in there for the syndicate, and I did catch up with John Roberts, and John's the president of the Auckland Club. So I said, hey, look, how happy are you getting a dog through to the final of this great race?
Terrific effort. We're thrilled. The girls put him aside for a brief spell because he went a couple of ordinary races, but the one problem with this dog is he will only run on Manukau. He runs very wide here and he runs off the track on other tracks, but he's got a motor. He will improve with that run today. The girls, great credit to them. They had him spot on for today and we were expecting a big run. It's not a surprise to us that he's qualified, and we're just hoping that he can draw out past midfield in the final.
There was John Roberts with his thoughts around Cameo Sid, and I'm hoping he can get the slingshot on them round the turn and I don't end up with egg on my face. Right, time now to put 4 selections on a piece of paper. Rosso, we'll start with you. You are the guru of greyhounds. Where are we going?
Come on, Eddie. Now, you know that I have Rosso pinning Mac before, but what I want to be noted is that I did select him to win the Waterloo Cup. Unfortunately, I wasn't on the show that week. But anyway, he delivered on that occasion. It's all about the jump with him, clearly, so I've put him on top. Blazing Carter should be forward. I expect him to be in the money. That might be the safest bet for me, top 3, Blazing Carter. Ringside's hard to leave out because of what he did in the heat, Philippa, and I'm going to poke Diddley in there because he just keeps stepping up to the plate. Okay, I know where you're going. You're wearing the colours.
Well, it's pretty obvious where I'm going, and I'm pretty much going very different from you guys. I'm putting Avenger Bell on top. I just think it's his chance. Come on, boy, jump out of the boxes and go. I also have Ringside in there. Have to have him in after last week's run. I've put Diddley in just off past performances and that great run home. And then I have actually got All About Space and think she's good enough to hold on for 4th.
Yeah, I've marked them 2, 8, 5 and 7. I'm around the 2 dog here in Blazing Carter. I think he's fast enough to find his way to the lead as long as the mind's on the job, and I'm sure the team will have him ready to fire. Cameo Sid, putting my neck out on the chopping block there.
Shirt, come on.
I might have to wear that Sunday, I think, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I've slotted him in for second. I'm putting my head on the chopping block and we'll go with it. The 5 Ringside, you can't leave him out. As long as Penny Mac doesn't get in his face, he's a big chance. And then Penny Mac himself, obviously you need him in because we know just how good he is. We're going to head to a quick break here now on Dog Zone. On the other side, we'll head to the other Group 1, the Railway. Welcome back into Dog Zone. It's now time to pick apart the second of the Group 1 features, the Qualified Pet Services Railway Sprint. Here's a look at the market for you. Favourite, and no surprise there, Sir Dougie at $1.90. Big Time Wendell $4.50. Pete's at $6. Kiwi Boy at $9. Rosso, he's $1.90. The form he's in, he deserves to be favourite, although there are a couple of little question marks to his inside.
You could argue that $1.90 is value for a runner that's won 9 in a row, 13 of his last 14. He is drawn outside Kiwi Boy. Sir Dougie, a phenomenal opening split, 4.4 last week, unprecedented. But you have got dogs inside him who've run 4.43, 4.44, dogs like Kiwi Boy who could hold him up, and Idle Nifty. I think Idle Nifty's the value there at 12. I thought 16 and 5 going into the heats was good value, so clearly having qualified, 12 has got to be pretty good, and very backable top 3, I would say, at those sorts of odds.
Here's a look at the speed map for the Railway. It looks a little like this, Philippa, with Sir Dougie in front, but just over Kiwi Boy and just one smile, and certainly Kiwi Boy holds the key to Dougie.
He certainly does, but Dougie's just so fast off the lids, isn't he? We've seen that, and that's what he shows here. But yes, Kiwi boy outside, he needs to clear him. He certainly does, because if he's going to run wide, he doesn't want to be next to him. I think Big Time Wendell's pretty much mapped the right there, and Idle Nifty, he's in and out. You know, 2 weeks ago he did jump and put that exceptional time up, but then last week he missed the kick a little bit, and don't really want him doing that with Just One Smile drawn on his outside. And
you make a really good point, Philippa, that the sectional was taken to the first bend, and you made this point too, Andy, earlier when we were having a chat. Sir Dougie is just so quick off the lids. The others can maybe muster by the time they get to the first bend, but that critical point in a sprint race especially, but any greyhound race, is that first 10 to 15, 20 metres, and he's been almost faultless for a long time now.
He certainly has. Now time to go runner by runner through them. Box number 1 for Just a Gift. Jake and Dave's Bell prepare her. She comes up with box number 1. Rosso 3 from 3 off the red, but probably needs to lift a notch or two for some of these.
They've been down in the grades. One of them she did actually push out a wee bit when there was some pressure on her. She doesn't paint the rail, she can sort of come one off. Look, this is a great story. Jake and Days have taken her over. Jake turned 30 the other day. It's his first Group 1, or their first Group 1 finalist here. And raced by Cyril and Robin Evans and Barry Stevens, and they're from the Wanganui East Bowling Club syndicate. They got this greyhound out of the coal kennels. She's come up the grades very quickly, and you know, her run the other day, you couldn't really fault it, Philippa. It was a terrific run from her.
Oh, it certainly was, and you know, she comes up with the right draw, I think, to put herself in this, but it's got to be the hardest field she's ever contested. But nice to see her in there, and you know, good on Jake and Daisy Bell, and of course her sister's running in the Australian Cup, so she's got the breeding on her.
Yeah.
Rosso caught up with Jake Bell on Monday at the Manawa 2. Here's what he thinks about Just a Gift's chances.
Jake, congratulations, Just a Gift into the Group 1 Railway Final, your first Group 1 finalist.
Thank you very much, Rosso. Yes, very, very surprised. I actually thought I was coming up here just to fill up a field when we were going against the good ones, but she didn't get everything her own way early, and I thought we were out the door, but she kept kicking, so it's going to be hard next week.
Well, sure, but you're in the final, and look, she's come a long way in a short time with you.
I got her off Brendan Cole for the owners, Cyril, Barry and Robin, and I gave her her solo trial, and I said to them straight away, I said, this dog can go straight to top grade. I said, she's got a lot of ability, but she was a bit tardy in the lids. We've just persevered, and mate, she is the most beautiful dog in the kennel. She loves attention, and she's just come up leaps and bounds. And a lot of people laughed at me when I said I was coming up for the railway, and to be honest, I thought I had a dog good enough to go in it, but not top grade, but maybe she's a bit better than we thought.
Box number 2 for the Marcy Flip prepared Idle Nifty, and he was good 2 weeks ago, Philippa, when he clocked an 18 and 23. Good in his heat as well, 18.45. The big question mark for him is what Just One Smile leans on him early and what that may do to him.
It is. You want him to do that 18.23. He needs to come out of the boxes, I think, to really put himself in this race. He's ultra consistent. He's in form for Marcy. But I think missing away a little bit and her cutting across could be a little bit worrying, and with Just One Gift maybe coming out of it.
Yeah, there could be a little bit of a jam there, couldn't there, for Idle Nifty, but he is a dog on the rise very quickly. He's already Group 2 placed in a race where he beat Sir Dougie home. But of course, Sir Dougie was in a bit of strife, probably would have run second that night behind She's a Ripper. Here, though, working around the outside of Just One Smile, as we say, Philippa would be better if they were drawn the other side again. And this is a dog who I don't mind drawn the 4 and the 5. He's one of those dogs that actually suits it.
I was just going to say that, actually, waiting for Marcy. I was actually next to her while she was waiting for the draw, and they were saying, well, we want box 1 or 2, and I was thinking, why don't you want 4 or 5, because he just seems to love it in the middle. He's quite a big dog, and I think he loves that room, so I'd probably actually want him drawn out a bit wider for me.
Having said that, Andy, he is quite a robust individual, and he'll take a bit of leaning. He can bust his way through.
He's a big framed runner, isn't he?
4.44 lead up in his first look at Manukau. Obviously he needs to produce something like that, clearly to win it, but even just to probably run in the money.
On Sunday, Rosso caught up with Tom Rodewald, part owner of Idle Nifty, to see what he thought of his chances.
Yeah, Mark, we brought it up last week for a run on the track and went in 18.23, faster than Sir Dougie, so we thought, well, maybe he likes the track, and he's now 2 out of 2, so hopefully we'll get a decent draw for the final.
Did he surprise you a wee bit last week with the nature of that time?
Yeah, he did. He's always shown he's had ability, but he's never run a real cracking time. But he got on the lure straight away, and obviously that made the difference.
Real pleasure to catch up with Tom Rodewald. I hadn't talked to him for years and years. He's an administrator from a long time back, and he's doing some work with the Auckland Club at the moment, and he owns runners from all 3 codes, and he's been a great supporter of greyhound racing over many years, and it's terrific to see him have this sort of success that they've had with the progeny of Idle Girl.
First of the trainers to have one in both Group 1 finals is Ben Craig. He comes up with box number 3 here in Just One Smile. Rosso, we saw him second in the heat behind Idle Nifty. He is a dog with speed. He's running 18 and 29 here, and he will be trying to lug across to the fence, which is the big question.
You're trying to bend the gender, she.
Oh.
But, mate, I do it about
Is that door still open?
No, I do it about 5 times a week, Andy. It kills me. But anyway, she has been good for a long period of time. She's probably just a bit further on than you'd like her at the peak of her powers, and she got burned fairly comfortably by Idle Nifty the other day. But anyway, caught up with John Roberts and just said, hey, look, how proud are you of her, because she's been doing good things for you for so long?
I'm hugely proud with her. It's a phenomenal effort. She's getting a little old now, but she's been a wonderful bitch all the way through her career. On her day, she's very, very quick. We've had issues with her, and it's a great credit to the Craig ladies that they have her up into a Group 1 final in the twilight of her career, and we've got our fingers crossed. She's drawn box 3, and that's probably the best box we could get with her.
Jared Udy and Nessie Cotton prepare Kiwi Boy. He comes up with box number 4. He is the king of Auckland. Pippa, was great to see him back in time for this series, and even better to see him winning his heat.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? And it's so great to have him back. And like you say, he is the king of Auckland going around there. So they've got to be stoked to have him in the field. Probably would have loved to see him out in box 8 once again. But he is in box number 4, and he's the dog that, well, he could cause the trouble to Sir Dougie.
Yeah, look, he's been a dog who has not just run 4:43 occasionally. He's run 4:43, he's run 45, he's run 47, he's run a couple of 49s, quite regular, getting to that bend in better than 4:50. And here he was in box number 8. I'm not going to mention Manila Bala there in box number 1, the red, but
have you wiped the tears away yet?
Well, the one dog, he just spooked for some reason. He clearly didn't read the form guide. It was Kiwi Boy. He should have been all right there. Anyway, Kiwi Boy ran away and scored here very comfortably. And as Philippa said, it's just tremendous for Jared and Denise to have this dog through. And they've been travelling the country with their dogs, and we hadn't seen this dog on race day since the Galaxy semi-final. It's a long time off. I did actually ask Jared, hey, where has this dog been, or were you just sort of waiting around, waiting for this particular race?
In the semi at Christchurch, he did a sesamoid, so yeah, he's basically been off. We sort of got him fit again, and he's had some problems with it. And like I said, if you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I wouldn't have thought he'd be a starter, but he come right, and we only had one trial going in, but yeah, he went fair and went good today.
Yeah, did he go better than you perhaps expected? Obviously, you got the right sort of draw.
We didn't really have any expectations with him. It was we know he's a good animal, and we knew he'd improve. He only went 1870 last week after the races. We thought 1850s could win it. We went too far off, 1855. Yeah, it was up to him actually. It was just one of those things. He's a good dog, so.
The Cole team prepare the favourite Sir Dougie. He comes up with box number 5 for the final. Philippa, he has been electric for a long time. He's faultless in his displays, and the small question, Kiwi Boy drawn to his immediate inside, but if there's anyone fast enough to overcome that problem, it is Dougie.
Yes, I think it is. I had a look through this field. I tried to say, oh, maybe there's a dog we can put on top because he's drawn outside of him. I don't think so. I said it before, he comes out of the boxes so fast. We've seen that in the heat. He flies out. He's got that exceptional early speed. Have a look at him off the lids. If he does this here from box number 5, I just can't see him getting beat.
The thing is too, Andy, that I thought he might be a bit vulnerable at 318 metres, but it's not like his run homes are seriously inferior to the others. Sure, there's dogs that can run faster than him the back half of the race, but they're chasing a shadow by then anyway, and even if they got up to him, they've still got to get past him.
Scary thing for his rivals that he's strengthened.
Well, yeah, exactly. The thing is that he's been doing it, Christchurch obviously because he won the Galaxy there, hat-trick he's done it week in, week out, and his only blemish in the last 14 races is that Group 2 Dash for Cash where he wasn't as quickly out and he got the wrong side of a kennel mate. He probably would have run second to She's a Ripper that night. She would have won, she was on the inside, I've got no doubt about that, and she was ahead of him. But how can you knock a dog? He's won. I'm the same as Philippa. I'm like, okay, right, so how do I set about trying to, he's drawn outside Kiwi Boy, great, if I can find something to beat him. It's like, well, actually, no. He's won 9 straight, and I don't want to be the one that makes him end the streak at 9, but frankly, he's clearly the dog to beat, and I think if you like him, you might be prepared to go $1.90. That's good.
You're not going to get that around hat-trick, are you? every week $1.50
he
you're
goes
going to get for him.
every week round there, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Rosso caught up with Brendan Cole on Monday at the Manukau. Here's what he thinks about Dougie.
Brendan, how easy is it to keep Sir Dougie up, winning these races in a row and on different tracks?
Oh, he's just a good dog. You can feed him mince pies, mate, he'd still win. He's a hypo dog. He's got away with me a couple of times at the track. But no, he just does the same routine as every other dog. It's just a matter of keeping them sound and then hopefully they're going to do their best for you.
He's drawn box 5 and Kiwi Boy's in 4. I guess he's got such extreme speed you don't worry too much about the box draw with him?
No, I don't care where he draws. There's not many dogs can come out in a 440 up at Auckland or anywhere in the country. Not many dogs, when he gets it right, can come out like him. But he's just got to do it all right again and put himself back in the race and then it's just a matter of getting past the winning post.
There's nothing to suggest, though, that things should be any different come Sunday?
No, I don't think so. It's only him, whether he gets too worked up, but we sort of try and travel up the day before and take care of that. But yeah, he's a marvel. He's a real good dog and he's professional and every person that races greyhounds would like to have one. I'm just lucky that I've got the job of looking after him.
Box number 6 for Alex Attack, the second runner here for Jared Udy and Denise Cottam. And Rosso, really good to see this bloke make it 2 years in a row in a railway for a dog who tends to fly under the radar. That's no mean feat.
Wow, look, it was a shock last year for him to qualify, and then he ran second to Rosa T, and here he is again. He ran a super race in behind Sir Dougie there. What can you say? What a marvel of dog. And it's hard to paint a picture for him winning, even though Philip is wearing the colours of Alex Attack as well as Avenger Bale, looking for a pretty interesting double.
But the wide draw, no concern for the dog?
No, exactly. No. He's kind of in the right spot. He's got Sir Dougie to his inside. That's where the speed is. And, anything can happen over the 318. We saw that last year. Always a runner's chance once you're there, of course. And to make 2 Group 1 finals in a row, any distance, outstanding.
Philippa, can he beat Pete early and get a little bit of room? Obviously, Wendell's not going to cut across him. Dougie's going to give him room, as we just said. Can he get a little bit of space early and get into it?
Well, he went 4:53 early last week, and what did Pete go at 4:60? So I think he can. I think he can jump out and maybe move out a little bit, and that's what I think could be detrimental to Pete, is that if Alex does jump out, he tends to move wide as well. So you're going to have Kiwi Boy. I think Dougie's going to already have gone. You're going to have Kiwi Boy and Alex Attack moving out a little bit. Pete's going to have a job.
Rosso caught up with Jared again on Sunday to see what he thought about Alex Attack.
Well, Jared, what about Alex Attack? Second in the railway last year, and he's gone and qualified again by running second today.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise. The old boy seems to jump at railway time every year, so we're thrilled to bits. He tries hard all the time. He's my own dog, so we're wrapped. He's probably in the twilight of his career now, so stoked.
And he clocked an 18:48, so it wasn't sluggish.
No, that's right. It surprised me too. So, no, it's good. He doesn't usually jump like that. He's usually tail in the field and relies on a bit of luck. So to get him up was awesome.
Big Time Pete for the Colt team comes up with box number 7, probably drawn the wrong side of the track here, Philippa. He's going to have to do a little bit of work early, and with his usual slow beginning, that could be a little bit of a question mark for him.
We say it all the time, don't we? Box speed's gold in racing, and I think he's going to let himself down off the boxes. He's got sensational run home times, 13:71 home. If he's anywhere near these dogs, he's going to be flying home. He almost got Idle Nifty by a nose there at an 18:23, but it's off the lids and sprinting. I'm just query that.
He's a good dog. He 410 metre track record holder at the Manukau, and when he gets it right, and we've seen him at Hattrick post some really fast times as well, and here, this is good for him. 460, but that's the issue, isn't it, Philippa? This is good for him at 460. If he runs 460 in the final and the others run up to what we think, he could just be out on a limb.
Well, I watched him come out and, oh gosh, he's jumped so well. Like, that's not Big Time Pete. So once he did that race over, then you have a look at the sectionals and you go, oh, he only went 460, where you've got Alex Attack at 453, you've got Dougie at 440. I mean, he's going to have to lift.
Yeah, look, he's a dog who, as we know, can run the back half very fast. He's posted a fast overall time here, 18:24. He was very close to Idle Nifty in a very fast time a fortnight ago, and he's been racing at Manukau, so he's really starting to get used to the place, I suppose, and the quiet lure there. I did catch up with Brendan Cole on Monday and said, gee, you must have been happy with the nature of the win as much as anything.
Yeah, got good money out of him yesterday. He's a real hot dog, this dog, but he broke the 4:10 track record here at Palmerston North. And then if you look at a couple of his prior races from the 375, he come out 2 or 3 times where he slipped over. Just lost a bit of confidence with the jumping. But going to Auckland, he wasn't brilliant the first time, but the second time he got it pretty good last week, and then this week he got it real good. So he's a genuine, really good dog.
Does box 7 bother you a bit with him though?
I don't think so. If Dougie comes out, he'll go straight across the face of the field. So I suppose we rely on if Dougie comes out. Obviously you'd like to draw the inside, but these are the draws that we've been given, so we just got to hope that the dogs do their best from these positions.
The last of the charges from the Cole team comes up with box number 8, Big Time Wendell. She was victorious in her heat off box number 1. Philippa, you had her as bet of the day on that occasion. Comes up with box number 8 and probably suits her better than the 1 as well.
Yes, I made money that day too, but of this one instead, Big Time Wendell, and I do like her. I think she's another that she's matched with these guys before at hat-trick as far as early sectionals, but she's also got that run home as well. So I've actually put her in for second. I think that maybe she can come across with Dougie, and I think she's good enough to hold on for second or third.
Seems to be in the right spot, doesn't she? I mean, her 3 box 8s have all been over 520 metres, and in one of them, she ran 491 to the first market hat-trick, which is just unbelievable. This is her in the red, and she's actually pretty good. We've seen the head on, she does come out a wee bit, and she always does, but she has been a whole lot worse in the past, and she seems to have sorted it out a bit, and by the time she gets around the bend, I mean, she's only sort of 2 to 3 widths out, which is pretty good. And look at the galloping lesson she's giving them there. She gets a chance to do her own thing out there, Andy, and that's probably the critical thing, isn't it? Let's have a look at her here. She moves out initially, but then she's pretty good after that.
And the key to her as well, Big Time Pete to her inside, who we're saying is going to be slow away, so she's going to have plenty of room. We know how fast she is, and she's certainly good enough to get into it.
No, without a doubt. And again, just another one for the Coles here. They're third, and they've got 3 in the Auckland Cup as well, so it's a feat in itself. Again, chatting with Brendan Cole on Monday at Manukau, and just saying, look, how happy are you with her drawn out there?
Yeah, she's a real good dog, and box 8's going to be a added bonus to her because you know sometimes when she jumps she moves out a little bit, and in the heats the good dogs are all spread out. So in the final all the good dogs are there with pace, and she's sitting on the outside. We know she can run through the line, you know, like 440, 450. You know, sitting camped outside a dog's not going to be a problem for her. She can leave the boxes as quick as a dog like Sir Dougie. So if she puts herself out there, you know, big chance.
Once again, we'll go to the greyhound guru himself. First up for his selections, Rozo, how do you see it in form?
Oh, you're trying to set me up, aren't you, Andy? If I can Rozo Sir Dougie, that would be my proudest achievement. I don't mean that in a happy sense, but like seriously, can I stop a 9-race winning streak with Sir Dougie? I have to put him on top because he has been the dominant sprinter. He's been at 3 venues. The Galaxy Railway Double's a terrific thing to do. You could argue that the draw hasn't worked out perfectly, but got him on top. I do think the value is Idle Nifty. We have identified a few issues with Idle Nifty's draw potentially, but I think if you're looking at 12s and whatever they put up top 3, I think backable each way there. In behind, Wendell clearly drawn somewhere nice, and I'd love to see Kiwi Boy get some of it, and there's no reason why he can't because he's good from anywhere, Philippa.
Yes, I've got my Sir Dougie. I mean, how can you not? I've got Big Time Wendell in for second. I just think she's ideally drawn out there. Like you say, she can match motors. And then I've got in for third Idle Nifty. Couldn't leave him out. Probably do want him drawn, you know, midfield, but you can't leave him out. And then I have put Big Time Pete in just that exceptional run home. I think he can still burn around and get a place in there.
5, 8, 2 and 4 for me. I don't need to say a lot more about Sir Dougie. We've talked about him, Wendell as well. The 2 Idle Nifty, as long as he can fend off the early charge of just one smile. And I needed to add in Kiwi Boy these. The King of Auckland, it'd be great to see him get Group 1 glory come Sunday afternoon. Rosa, the only question left. Philippa's wearing green on Sunday to support Avenger. Which one of us is wearing gold for Dougie?
It might have to be you.
Suit or shirt?
You can wear pink for Cameo Sid, just putting him in top 3 I think is outstanding work. John
Pink
Roberts, be
suit,
very pleased with you.
Gold shirt.
Pink suit, gold shirt would be magic. And what do I need? Black. Ooh, it's a bit funereal, isn't it, for Pity Mac? So yeah, we might leave it to our man Patrick Chappell, who's put this show together.
But at least you'll be well dressed in funeral attire if we do Dog Zone, Sir Dougie.
Black gold ties, you know, gold cufflinks, you know, we could make it work.
Actually, I've got the gold and black tie. You've given me a thought there. Thank you, Philip.
Okay, outside of Sunday, there is some other greyhound racing action going on, and we're going to head across the Tasman first to Australia. Bago Bye Bye getting the job done in a heat of the Australian Cup. Rozo, You and I both half-bagged the decision of this dog going back to Australia, saying he's better off being here racing for 90,000. Well, turns out we dog zoned ourselves.
Wouldn't it be good if we could put up our text conversation prior to this?
I don't think we should.
Seriously, this is an outstanding performance from Bago Bye Bye, and it's good to see, but it has shocked me. And here he is, first run since he went back home from New Zealand, and he trialled reportedly very quick at Albion Park, Philippa. But even so, to come out and to just put away some top greyhounds and run the fastest time for a race that's worth $250,000 to the winner, well, omelette on face right here, and let's hope he can do the job.
All I can say is I'm glad I wasn't part of that conversation. I always knew he'd go over there and win. You know, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
But, you know, he's come up with box number 4 in the final. Boy, it's a good final, but I'd love to see him do something. He's got Kiwi connections, and we've seen what he did over here, and he beat the best of our best, so I'd love to see him go over there and beat the best of theirs.
Yeah, I think even though, Andy, he was just a temporary visit here, obviously, Dave and Jean did a tremendous job with him, and to have a dog win the New Zealand Cup and then potentially to win the Australian Cup would be outstanding. As Philippa mentioned, Just a Gift's sister's in there.
Yeah, she's gifted. Yep, she's in there, and you've got like Black Opium. She started off her career, you know, just amazing. I think she's out box 7. She's going to be a contender as well. And of course, Dinah Paddy always going around and putting up his foot. But Bago Bye Bye off the 4. If he jumps like that and runs that time, well, you've definitely have egg on your face.
One question. Obviously, the big concern for us was him going into the catching pen. Jean and Dave obviously get him chasing a lot harder on the finish on. Is there a concern still that consistent racing in Australia, not getting a prize at the end, could be what we were thinking?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. This is probably a good thing to go into this race like this, fresh, so to speak, and they might get away with it for a few races and we see what happens then. But if they've got $250,000 in the bank after this weekend, then I don't think they're going to mind too much.
No, I have to agree.
Unfortunately, on the weekend, we did lose one of our ex-racing stars in Dangle the Carrot. She was phenomenal. She unfortunately succumbed to cancer and had to be put to sleep, which was really hard on connections there, Rozo. I know this is a dog who's close to your heart. You really, really love this girl. And her win in the Kingston Cup, 9 lengths in front of Swift Fantasy, was a race to behold.
We're going to see this that race shortly, and this is here at Nancy Cabane. And look, I think that she is the most underrated greyhound that I can recall in my time in greyhound racing. I don't think people realise how good she was. Now, she's one of the dogs that won 14 in a row. There's been a handful of them.
And all over ground, well, most of them.
11 of them were 600 metres and beyond. She's still got the 755 metre record at the Hattrick Raceway. She was incredible, and she could do it from the front. The shame was that because she got injured, we never saw clashes with her and Swift Fantasy beyond this, where she's beaten Swift Fantasy by 9 lengths here, Philippa. Now, Swift Fantasy wasn't as good at Addington with no outside fence. How good would it have been to have these two with their contrasting racing styles do battle in, you know, a silver collar and some of the other races, but unfortunately it didn't occur.
No, I think it would have been one of the races of all time to have, you know, Swift Fantasy get so far back and try and see her get a dog of this calibre at the front, but she was just phenomenal, and she's also gone on and bred as well, and, you know, it's such a shame to lose her for connections.
The only distance races she ever got beaten in, Andy, was when she came back after a year and they tried to get her back on the track, and she ran 2, you know, pretty solid thirds, and she was only a shadow of what she had been. And I know that you were saying to me that Dave was telling you just how incredibly well she broke in.
She hadn't been named. She trials the same day as Dave's Cup contenders leading into it, one of them being Rockabye Lad. She's not named, she trials faster than his Cup contenders, one of them being Rockabye Lad. We all get excited about how good our dogs are. Imagine how the smile on Dave's face on that day.
Oh, exactly. And we probably should mention another dog that we lost on Friday, unfortunately, and this was Marcy Flip's Idle Tom for Apawa Racing and Tom Roderwald. Well, you know, obviously that same family are going to be to the fore at Manukau on Sunday, but Idle Tom was an amazing dog because he went 32 starts without a win, but in that time, Philippa, he posted 3 Group 1 placings, and Marcy had them all set up for 645 metres this week. And look, it's just a shame to lose any dog, but he was a bit of a favourite for a lot of people.
Yes, he was. He was just one of those battlers, wasn't he? But he always put his foot up when it came to it in those big races, and we've been dying to see him over 600 metres as well. And I know she had too, so it's been a shame to, lose such a good dog for Connections.
Certainly a heartbreaking time, no doubt about that. In terms of distance racing, the Wanganui Group 1 distance final heats were supposed to be on Friday. Rosso, unfortunately, we didn't quite get enough of that. We almost did, but we didn't, thanks to Avenger making the Auckland Cup.
Yeah, the Auckland Cup sort of put a damper on this really in terms of having heats. It's a shame when we're not getting heats for $30,000 Group 1, Philippa, but Avenger Bale would have made enough for 2 6-dog heats, and that would have been good. But of course, he's in the Auckland Cup final, so maybe these races, I don't know, are they aimed at 2 different dogs? Type of dog, maybe, but maybe not too, because you could see Don't Knock a G being in here as well.
Just going to say yes.
Yeah. Having said that, Dinah Wesland, Corborn Taylor, and Perfect Result at the top of that board make for a pretty interesting race. And you're going to talk about Corborn Taylor and how fast you went past Wesland after the line.
I actually said to you, I was on the radio and I said, Wesland won, that was great, but I didn't think she won by that much. Corborn Taylor was coming for her, and I think over the 700 metres, I mean, we know how good Wesland is, but Corborn Taylor, I think, could be really good value. I was saying, it wasn't that long ago, she was such a black booker in a Class 2 race. She came from last on the bend to fly home and get third, and I was going to pip her out as my black booker on Dog Zone the next week, but she was in against these dogs like Alan Mack, and I thought, oh, no, I won't. And Romanowski did win, but she flew home for second over the 600 metres, and I'd love to see her over the 700.
Well, she's got 7:55 form. She ran second to Dusty Gambler in the Group 2 Wanganui Stayers. Iris Allen was third, who's in amongst there as well, Andy. So we've still got a good straight final, but if you put Avenger Bale and obviously a fit Don't Knock a G in there, that would be a whole lot better. But with no Dusty Gambler around, we're still waiting for another wave to come through. They're kind of there. The 6:45, 600 metre dogs are there, but we haven't got enough to step up to the 700 at the moment.
And potentially a little bit more medicine there for the master himself as well, Perfect Result, who's racing well.
Oh yeah, Perfect Result, super, really good dog. We saw what he did on Super 6 night against some reasonable dogs, and he had been a bit stiff in his 2 700 metre races prior to that as well, so he'll give them a serious shake as well.
What do we make of a dog that you pointed out to me after his second or third start, no pudding, having a go over the journey?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's probably being a bit frustrating for Gary, but Gary and Galen, they breed and rear some good, strong dogs, and it's going to be nice to see their next wave coming forward.
Of course, at Manukau at the moment, we do have the Golden Chase underway, and the qualifying times are as follows. Asking Jeff leading that, obviously. Philippa, the devastating news out of Monday, Monster Fish, who looked a really big chance in this series, coming down with a fairly major injury, and unfortunately we won't see him again.
No, and he was one of the favourites, wasn't he? Obviously Asking Jeff just past his time, but he certainly looked the dog to beat going into this. I hear that they are going to try and use him for stud, Rosso, so that's a plus coming out of it, but it's such a shame when we lose these fantastic dogs like this.
Yeah, Philippa, Paul Freeman's driven Monster Fish up to Steve McGill. The hock is a bit of a mess. They got it x-rayed the following day. I did have a look at him after a race, lied down, and Charlie had wrapped him up, the vet, and it was such a sad sight to see, because he's just been dominant on a Monday afternoon, and I think people probably maybe forget just how good he was too. He had poked the bear all out to beat him in a Group 2 in Australia. He's a really good dog, Monster Fish.
How fast was he going to run on Monday?
Oh, he lit up a 9:04. Yeah, and he would have been, look, I know he's not top of that leaderboard, but he would have been the favourite for the Golden Chase. They're going to, the syndicate are keen to breed from him, so they're going to take, I think, about 20 straws off him, and then he's going to Mayhounds to retire. So good luck to Steve McGill with that operation with Monster Fish.
A dog down that list a little bit is Big Time Morocco, but gee, really promising up and comer this. Box number 3 on this occasion, Northern Visitor Robson was in the 4. This is a solid win, Rosa.
I tipped Robson out on top. He's actually a younger half-brother to Monster Fish, Robson, and he goes back on Monday for another look, Robson. I wouldn't give up on him here, but Rocco was super. This is 7 from 7. Philippa, and it's just the way he's doing it now too. Not only is he running time, but he's been able to overcome adversity a couple of times as well.
Yes, he's a little bit slow off the boxes sometimes, especially at hat-trick. He's really got to pick his way through the races, and he did that on Friday, and he goes back around Friday as well in New Zealand Racing Series, and he's going for another one in a row, but he's a very nice up-and-coming dog for Brendan and Lisa.
Well, that's about all we have time for here on Dog Zone. Rozzo will be there on Sunday. Hopefully we don't Dog Zone Dougie.
No, indeed. There'll be 3 of us there, the 3 of us that are here. Peter Early, of course, calling once again. And it'll be fast and furious action, Philippa.
It will be, if anything like Sunday, I think 18, 19-minute turnarounds, but hey, at least we don't have to wait around and get the next one going. We'll be ready to kick on.
So we'll see you on Sunday out at the Manukau Sports Bowl, and then again here next Wednesday with a full review of the card from Sunday with the 2 Group 1s. Until then, happy punting.